Vilacheri Iyer, or Rangan. Love has many facets. It is supreme and expressed in many dimensions. A Jnani, a being of spiritual wisdom, is an inexhaustible repository of love. All his actions reflect the myriad aspects of his unconditional love. In Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi's relationships with his devotees, we see many different aspects of this love. With devotees like Vilacheri Iyer, we see the Guru in his aspect of a loving friend. Even as a toddler, Bhagavan had the traits of nobility, equal sharing, accepting responsibilities, and keeping promises. Back home, after playing outside, he would bring a few of his playmates to drink milk from his mother. Usually children are jealous, but Bhagavan would go out of his way and bring his friends home, saying, "Come on, let us have milk." What a strong bond of friendship and sharing this created. One of these friends, Meenakshi, was just 1.5 years old and lived in a neighboring house. After some years, Meenakshi married, but did not have a very happy married life. However, all the while, she kept worshipping Bhagavan in her heart. She never came to see Bhagavan because she could not. In the 1940s, when she was bedridden with age, Bhagavan simply appeared where she was, just as he did with Nayanmar. Sitting by her bedside, he touched Meenakshi. She was in a coma, but regained consciousness at his touch and exclaimed, "My God, my Lord, Ramana, you have come to bless me." These were her last words. This is the highest example of friendship. Though they shared mother's milk way back in infancy and never met after that, Bhagavan remained a loyal friend and remembered Meenakshi in her last days. Lakshmi was another fortunate friend of Bhagavan who shared milk with him at the age of 2. She was eventually widowed and led a life tattered by pain and suffering. Bhagavan's name and recognition had spread by then. One day, Bhagavan was seated in the hall, surrounded by well-known devotees and scholars. Lakshmi, thin, dark, and unrecognizable in her 60s, stood in front of him among 200 people and demurely asked, "I do not know whether Bhagavan recognizes me." "Why not?" Bhagavan replied. "Are you not Lakshmi? Did we not drink milk together?" The master recalled his childhood friend even after 60 years. Bhagavan personified wisdom and was like a diamond. We value a diamond because its clarity shines from every angle we examine it. Any page taken out of Bhagavan's life and teachings sparkles with this clarity. Many people who pay attention to Bhagavan's teachings would do well to be aware of Bhagavan's aspect of friendship. His relationship with his devotee friends is a revealing one. While they viewed him as an enlightened sage, Bhagavan viewed them as his friends from childhood. 2 of Bhagavan's prominent devotee friends had 2 factors in common. They were steeped in family life and deeply attached to their worldly duties. It is inspirational to see how Bhagavan related to these people. He didn't ask them to give up their family ties and take up a spiritual life. Instead, he went along with them. But when they became tired and exhausted with their worldly attachments, he gently drew them to himself. His friends came to him with complaints about their family life. In spite of the mundane nature of their problems, the young Bhagavan listened and solved them as a true friend. He did not just offer them counsel, but actually took them upon himself the responsibility of removing every suffering as if it were his own. Vilacheri Ranga Iyer, also known as Rangan, lived in Tiruchuzi, which was Bhagavan's birthplace. He was Bhagavan's classmate and childhood friend. Bhagavan's family and Rangan's family moved to Madurai around the same time, and the two boys continued to be close friends until Bhagavan ran away to Arunachala at 16. It was 1903 when Rangan first came to know about Bhagavan's whereabouts in Arunachala, both of them 24 at the time. However, being tied down by family responsibilities, he could not come and see him immediately. After a few years, when Bhagavan was at Virupaksha cave, he finally paid him a visit. Sri Bhagavan greeted Rangan with an affectionate gesture of friendship, a punch to his shoulder. At first, Rangan could only view Bhagavan as his friend Venkataraman. He demanded, "Hey, Venkataraman, even the evening before you left Madurai, we were playing football. I am supposed to be your closest friend. Why did you not tell me that you were going away the next day?" Bhagavan replied, "Ranga, did I travel like a normal traveler, with baggage and all that? It was a supreme force which drew me that day to Arunachala. Where was there room for any formalities to be observed?" Bhagavan then looked steadily at him, and immediately Rangan could see that he was no more just Venkataraman, his friend, his classmate, the football player, or his mate in the swimming pool. Bhagavan had been an excellent swimmer, football player, and wrestler. Those who had seen Bhagavan then say that he was a 6-footer and a very strong physique. Bhagavan was very well built for a Brahmin boy. Until the age of 16, when Bhagavan had the ego death experience, he never had a headache, stomachache, or any ailment. So robust was his body. However, after the Patala cellar experience in the Arunachala Ashwara temple, his body was worn by neglect. Ranga could see this change in Bhagavan. The master had by now become somewhat legendary, and a few devotees had already gathered there. Yet when Rangan came to Virupaksha cave, Bhagavan treated him with the same love. Their relationship was beautiful. It was that of a fully awakened one, a sage of wisdom, and an ignorant man steeped in family sufferings, who was not spiritually inclined at all, but who had a deep love for Bhagavan. The master appreciated the depth of that friendship and would sit next to his friend by his bedside. Seeing him tossing and turning, weighed down by his problems, Bhagavan would pat him and ask gently, "Hey Ranga, what is bothering you?" One day, Rangan told him about his troubles. Have you given enough to your family to live on while you have come away here? Bhagavan inquired. Rangan was silent, too embarrassed to admit his inability to provide for his family. Oh, so you have some financial problems, Bhagavan surmised. Is it enough if you get 10,000 rupees? This was a huge amount in those days, and it surprised Rangan to hear Bhagavan talking about money. But Bhagavan pressed on. Will it solve all your problems if you get 10,000 rupees? Rangan remained quiet, and after a few days took leave of Bhagavan and went to Chennai. He managed to get a sales job, selling trucks and buses. When he got his commission, it was exactly 10,000 rupees. Once his son was bitten by a snake, and people thought he was dead. He remembered that Bhagavan had given him sacred ash. Probably Rangan would have asked Bhagavan for some prasad, and Bhagavan would have offered him sacred ash, because Bhagavan rarely gave anything as prasad of his own accord. He told his grieving wife and relatives, "Do not worry, my Bhagavan, my friend, is there." He smeared the sacred ash on his son while chanting, "Ramana, Ramana, Ramana, Ramana." The boy recovered. Then there was the incident when his eldest daughter became mentally imbalanced. Her husband could no longer take care of her and left her in Rangan's care. Rangan had one solution for all his problems: Bhagavan. He wrote a letter to Bhagavan and soon received a reply from the ashram saying, "Your letter was shown to Bhagavan, and he held it for a long time. He asked us to write back that she will be all right." On another occasion, his other daughter fell into a well. When they got her out, she was thought to be dead as well. Everyone began to weep, except Rangan, who had faith in his friend. He had the cure-all medicine, Bhagavan's sacred ash. He smeared it on her too, and sure enough, she recovered. Once Rangan's wife, Chelamal, went to Ramana Ashramam to have Bhagavan's darshan. All the devotees proceeded from the ashram to walk around the hill, Pradakshina. Chelamal left the hall with the others, but came back only to go around the old hall a few times. Bhagavan was surprised. "How come you returned so quickly?" he asked. "No, Bhagavan, all the others have left for Giri Pradakshina, but I could not join them as I have a problem with my back. I thought that I will do Pradakshina of you instead." Bhagavan arranged for an injection to be given by the ashram doctor, Mr. M.R. Krishnamurthy Iyer. The doctor advised Chelamal to rest in the guest house. However, she could not resist being in Bhagavan's presence for even a few minutes. She managed to slowly reach Bhagavan's hall, making her husband really worried. Bhagavan just lifted his hand in blessing, and Chelamal was healed of her back pain. It never came back again. This aspect of Bhagavan was unique because he had rarely done these things for anyone else, such as talk about money, give sacred ash, or raise his hand to heal. He came to these realms for a true friend. What is friendship? It is a deep faucet of love. And what is love? Love is wisdom, jnana, and Bhagavan was the king of jnana. Rangan was very special and graced indeed.